Is this your high-pitched rap?
Yeah,
Is that the middle part?
that's kind. You want me to actually do a high pitch rap?
No.
I can
Please,
do my
no.
the one I have
No,
written.
it makes my insides hurt.
Hold on.
Hold on. No.
Hold on.
Bible, Word of God, Jesus, in John chapter 7.
Hold on. Let me pray.
Verse
God says it's
10.
okay to do the rap, as long as we get to the
It's
word.
blasphemy.
This is not
No.
blasphemy.
Verse 10.
Okay, guys, we're in the Bible.
What was happening last week? Not last week.
Last episode.
Yeah. Wednesday? Right?
It was raining. No, it was cloudy. Really windy.
No, as in, like, what did you guys talk about last time? Like a recap.
Oh, right. Yeah,
We went a lot. We went really far off topic.
What's the recap?
But we did talk about how God's time is not yet to come. Jesus' time is not yet to come. And his brother's time is always ready. And the world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify of its works. That's Jesus talking. Yeah, no, we talked about Jesus not going to a certain feast because they would have killed him, the Jewish elite, or tried to at least. And
Yeah.
it wasn't his time.
Yeah, and it was Palm Sunday at church on Sunday.
Sunday hasn't happened yet.
It was Palm Sunday
Sunday has
everywhere.
happened.
But at church, Pastor Jim was talking about how if you did the math from when the order went out to rebuild Jerusalem to when Jesus walked or rode the donkey through the gates, that you would have predicted the exact day. And so I found that interesting. It had to be on that day. But anyways, verse 10 says, "But when his brothers had gone up, and he also went up to the feast, not openly, but as it were in secret, then the Jews sought him at the feast and said, 'Where is he?' And there was much complaining among the people concerning him. Some said, 'He is good.' Others said, 'No, on the contrary, he deceives the people.' However, no one spoke openly of him for fear of the Jews. Now, about the middle of the feast, Jesus went up into the temple and taught. And the Jews marveled, saying, 'How does this man know letters, having never studied?' And Jesus answered them and said, 'My doctrine is not mine, but his who sent me.'" Doctrine there just means teaching. "If anyone wills to do his will, God's will, he shall know concerning the doctrine, whether it is from God, or whether I speak on my own authority. He who speaks from himself seeks his own glory, but he who seeks the glory of the one who sent him is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. Did not Moses give you the law, yet none of you keeps the law? Why do you seek to kill me?" The people answered and said, "You have a demon. Who is seeking to kill you?" And Jesus answered and said to them, "I did one work, and you all marvel. Moses, therefore, gave you circumcision, not that it is from Moses, but from the fathers. And you circumcise a man on the Sabbath. If a man receives circumcision on the Sabbath, so that the law of Moses should not be broken, are you angry with me because I made a man completely well on the Sabbath? Do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment."
It's really interesting how in Hebrews, there's a big section about Moses compared to Jesus, and you can see it all throughout the New Testament. And it's so weird that on an earthly level, Jesus had to compete with Moses in the Jewish eye. That they couldn't just picture Jesus as better than Moses. No, this is how much they idolize Moses, which is why I stand so strong in what I say about, looking at pastors of now or a few years ago, or, as it could be put yesteryear. And if you idolize, like, a big one for us is Chuck Smith, or what's his name? Surgeon? Not Surgeon.
Spurgeon.
There we go. If you idolize Spurgeon, then you can see he obviously has some wrong doctrine. He was, what was he? It starts with a C.
Calvinist?
Calvinist, yeah.
Yeah.
He was Calvinist, so I mean, he had some stuff wrong, and if you just idolize him and look at him, like the Jews looked at Moses, you'll get your doctrine wrong. You don't want to have your doctrine wrong. They took all the laws that Moses gave them too seriously. They didn't give any exception to it, when you should do the right thing, whether it's on the Sabbath or not.
Yeah, and that's what he's talking about with they would circumcise someone on the Sabbath, even though it's technically work, because they decided circumcision was more important than the Sabbath. Uh, so Jesus was just saying the personal healing was more important than the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because what Jesus emphasizes time and time again is that it's about the spirit of the law. It's not about not murdering, it's about not hating, not wishing you could do it. And same with adultery and lusting or whatever it is. But I love how he knows everything and he calls out their bluff and then they I imagine them being nervous, like, no, you have a demon who's seeking to kill you. Like, they're probably scared. Because why? How does he know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It is very interesting.
Um,
And don't judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. And that's just, I mean, that's basically saying don't judge by the outside look. And that is taken so horrifically. We were talking about it a few days ago, where if a Paul came, actually, I think it was yesterday, if a Paul, in a sense, came and there was this dude who murdered, and we'll put it simple, we'll just say 50 Christians, the church in general wouldn't accept, at least the American church. I don't know how it is outside this country. But the American church wouldn't accept this person who's killed so many Christians, especially to listen to him for sound doctrine like this. And that's judging a book that's judging without righteousness, because you have to look at the heart and you have to look at the work, and everyone can change from their ways no matter how bad their ways are.
yeah, and I think that's true because there's this guy who was like the son of one of the founders of Hamas. He's like Christian now.
This is my reference.
And he's like here in the U.S. and everyone thinks he's fake because he doesn't like adhere to any of the denominations.
Yeah.
Because he says none of them took him in, so why would he be a part of any of them? And so
Yeah, and then basically he got saved in whatever country. I mean,
Israel.
I
I
guess
think he
it
was in
probably
jail.
Israel.
No, he just
somewhere in the Middle East.
well, he became disillusioned with Hamas because he realized they tortured their own people, and it was like,
Well, yeah.
why?
He got saved somewhere in the Middle East. His people down there, his Christians, I don't know why I use quotes there, but Christians, wherever he was saved, didn't accept him down there. So he looked at America. You know, Iraq looks at America as the big Satan. So he looked at America and was like, oh, it's a Christian country. I'm going to go down there, and they'll see that I'm actually a Christian. He got here. He went to many different churches, and not a single church would accept him.
Yeah.
They all thought he was fake, and they would all be scared of him. I'm sure he got kicked out of plenty of churches.
I think he like became a double agent, or maybe not.
Oh yeah, for
maybe
a while
he
was,
worked for
yeah.
Israel as a spy in Hamas too. But then
That's why he got
that's
disillusioned.
dangerous. So
Yeah, so he was
He had to
infiltrating Hamas
escape,
for
yeah.
Israel. And still, even in Israel, the Christians didn't accept him down there.
Yeah.
Or most Jews, because, I mean, he did
Yeah.
murder a lot of people.
yeah. Yep. Now verse 25. Now some of them from Jerusalem said, "Is this not he whom they seek to kill? But look, he speaks boldly, and they say nothing to him. Do the rulers know indeed that this is truly the Christ? However, we know where this man is from, but when the Christ comes, no one knows where he is from." Then Jesus cried out, as he taught in the temple, saying, "You both know me, and you know where I am from, and I have not come of myself, but he who sent me is true, whom you do not know. But I know him, for I am from him, and he sent me." Therefore they sought to take him, but no one laid a hand on him, because his hour had not yet come. And many of the people believed in him and said, "When the Christ comes, will he do more signs than these which this man has done?" So that's interesting. They're like,
What verse did you end on?
31.
Okay.
Like, how
Well,
is it possible for someone to do more miracles than this guy?
what about the prophecy they made up? Like,
Which one?
they say that we won't know where he's from.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just making stuff up.
But you can blame that on the rulers, too.
Oh, yeah.
They're the ones who were teaching them. I mean, not everyone had the scriptures like
Yeah.
we do now.
Do you know how frustrating it had to have been for them to be like, "You can't be. We know where you're from." That's why it says he cries
Yeah.
out. It just how annoying. Like my name is Josh, Joshua Ryan Swatsville. I don't tell anybody that my middle name is Ryan, and then I go in like 20
now everyone's
years.
gonna know.
That's fine. I'm using it as an example. I go in like 20 years, and I'm like, yeah, my middle name is Ryan. And they're like, no, I knew you since you were a kid. You never said your middle name was Ryan. It's like,
Well, yeah,
what?
that doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
But John later in this book also says how all the works that Christ did wouldn't fit in all the books and all the libraries of the world.
Yeah.
And it would be hard to do more miracles than that. So the
Yeah.
logic in that sense is correct, but I think that's how it just points to Jesus being the Christ, even to some of the people there speaking about it. So
Yeah. It's just very interesting to think about.
in verse 32, the Pharisees heard the crowd murmuring these things concerning him, and the Pharisees and the chief priests sent officers to take him. Then Jesus said to them, I shall be with you a little while longer, and then I go to him who sent me. You will seek me and not find me, and where I am, you cannot come. Then the Jews said among themselves, Where does he intend to go that we shall not find him? Does he intend to go to the dispersion among the Greeks and teach the Greeks? What is the thing that he said, You will seek me and not find me, and where I am, you cannot come?
It's very interesting if you slow down and see what the text is saying. The sheer racism between the Israelites and the Greeks, Israelites and really anybody else. And you can see why it was so hard for the New Testament. Even, it was Peter who got called out by Paul, right? Was it Peter?
Yeah, like in Galatians.
I mean, even the apostles had a hard time going to the Greeks to teach them about God and Jesus even after the day of Pentecost. And you can just see how enrooted they were in this racism. And it still is, if you go there and look around, there's still a lot of racist stuff. Not just them, I mean, there's Muslims too.
Yeah, but the whole point of the Jews was that all the families of the world would be blessed through them.
Yeah.
And that prophecy was fulfilled in Jesus. But before that, they should have been sharing that prophecy with all the heathen countries around them, and they weren't. They were too busy being evil themselves and infighting and splitting into two countries and collapsing. And
you know how horrible it would be to have, like, say America is as old as them, and just a record book of all their wrongs. That's what this is. The Old Testament just is a record book of all the wrongs.
That's what the liberals want to do. Just make America about slavery.
Yeah.
When that's not what it's about.
And we've only been around for a few hundred years.
Yeah. But anyways, what we get out of this text is, I think it's pretty black or white. Either you're for him or you're against